Hello.
Hi everyone, it is Bella.
And Laura.
And today we are chatting about stress.
Ah,
Specifically, why is stress such an issue for people? Why is it bad for you? And our favorite ways to combat stress.
yeah. So why is stress bad? Because we all live in a society
Oh,
where it's more is better and keep going, going, going. And there's just a lot of stress. So
yeah, that is so true. I would say probably in our society, stress affects nearly everyone, at least to some degree, and impacts our health in so many ways. It has the power to increase your breathing, your heart rate, pain in your body, muscle tension. Your appetite is a really big one, including cravings and overeating, and then sleep related problems also. So when we're chronically stressed, it's really our main culprit behind elevated cortisol levels. And you might be hearing the word cortisol and thinking, ding, 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 I kind of recognize that in relation to stress. Well, it's often kind of known as this stress hormone, the primary stress hormone, because it's one of the main hormones that we release when we're under any sort of stress. So we call this kind of the fight or flight response. So evolutionary based, if there was a bear in front of you, your body releases cortisol in response to a big stressor in your life, in your body. I do want to say, I don't want to demonize cortisol, because it is actually, in fact, you need it to live. It's in a way a great thing, but as a society, we kind of have these abnormally high, chronically high cortisol levels in our body. And the primary reason for this is chronic stress. And this can look different in everyone's life. What is stress? I think it's different for everyone. For some people, it might be, a really stressful job, long work hours. For some people, it might be over exercising. It might be family problems, marital, but whatever it is for you, stress can look different for everyone. But this kind of chronic high cortisol level in your body, this chronic stress, can be tied to all sorts of symptoms and ailments. And sometimes people don't even realize that stress is the cause or the primary cause or trigger for a lot of health problems. So weight gain, anxiety, sleep, I think, is a really big one. Insomnia and sleep disorders, things like that. Hormonal imbalances, fertility issues. I mean, lots of these things, inflammation in the body, unexplained, inability to lose weight. All of these things could be, and they're not always the only reason, but could be tied to chronic stress. So it is critical that as a society, we do something about this, and, each individually really try and lower our stress levels. And again, it's going to look different for everyone, but Laura and I hopefully today are going to share just some things that we really like to do, and hopefully they'll help you in some way. So do you want to kick us off, Laura, with
sure.
one?
I'm really weird, but I spend a lot of time actually reading and learning about things, because we aren't in the saber-toothed tiger time where we needed this cortisol to save our lives, right? Most of us but I will say I am someone who, if you have done our metabolic renewal hormone type quiz, little plug there, I tend to be more stress reactive than some people. So I try to make it a huge priority to step back. Yeah. So it can include everything from scheduling acupuncture visits to yoga, to walks, to nourishing my body with good foods, journal writing, and really just trying to come back to the present moment and breathe. So we have a lot of videos, we talk about breathing a lot, but really if I feel like I have a lot going on, I don't know about you, but I forget to breathe. And that's the biggest thing that kicks in that feeling, is because you can't, when you're not breathing, you're going to feel weird and stressed out, because literally your body's why are you not giving me enough oxygen?
Yeah, right.
So as you notice, so basically reminding myself to breathe, taking time to do things that make you happy. I like to sing. So taking time to do things like that are maybe you still have to focus and have attention, but it's different than activities that might give you that kind of stress. There's really, everyone's personal, everyone's different. Massages, people that are, going to your chiropractor can be a stress reduction activity. Because when your body's better in line, it can help, some people get neurofeedback therapy. There's all sorts of things that you can do. But basically, I would say, if I'm going to ramble back to the center, the biggest thing I would advise you to do is to do something that helps you breathe better.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. And I think, there are different ways to target stress in the body. You know, we can do things with diet, we can do things with exercise, but I do think Laura kind of really encompassed one of the really big ones, and that's just kind of these integrative health recommendations, and that includes things like body work and breath work and meditation, and really, just like Laura said, it's about finding what works for you and what makes you feel relaxed. Those relaxation techniques are really, really critical.
I didn't talk about people. So for some people, it could be really like I have a friend who's extremely extroverted and she gets very stressed if she's alone for too long. And then she gets a little, whereas some people need the opposite, and you need to schedule alone. And all you want to do is like just sit and be alone. And that is what you need to be a little calmer and more relaxed. So making sure you listen and know what works for you and try to make time for that.
Yeah.
What works for you, Bella?
I love that. I mean, just in regards to relaxation techniques, for me, really like breath work. And I'm one of those people, I love to be around people, but I'm someone who loves to be around people so much that sometimes I forget to take time to myself. And it's a really good way for me to just, reset and just kind of spend time. I think it's very healthy to spend time with yourself.
It is. I agree.
So I find that really helpful. I will say exercise is a really big one. I wanted to touch on exercise because, there is lots of research that shows that regular exercise is a really wonderful way to not only, be healthier, but also manage stress, balance hormones, and sleep better, and just kind of help aid in normal metabolic functions. However, I know personally, and Laura, I think you dealt with this too.
I was going to say, I'm just running.
But, I used to really do high intensity training, probably 5 to 7 times a week. And I wasn't eating to support my body. And so really what I was doing is overexerting and causing even more cortisol to be released in my body, which even though maybe mentally I didn't feel stressed, my body was under a heck of a lot of stress because I was literally lifting weights, running excessive amounts every single day. My body couldn't keep up. I wasn't nourishing effectively. So for me now, exercise looks like, maybe 3 times a week, high intensity training. And I love our programs because they're 15 minutes. So it's these short bursts of exercise, which are equally as effective, but not so much overexertion, you're kind of causing this chronic stress in the body. 3 times a week, that. And then getting outside in nature, which really I find beneficial, and just walking, moving my body rather than this very chronic, intense exercise. And that's just, again, personally for me. Some people, athletes can move their body this much, and they also are working with a professional to support their body effectively.
Yeah, and I will say professional athletes, though, do schedule very concentrated time for relaxation. They make it really strong. Athletes are doing gentle yoga. They are doing gentle massages. They are doing lots of things built into their day to counterbalance all that they're doing. So even if you look at them and you're like, they're doing so much, but they're really being conscious with how they're doing it.
Yes, that's very true.
It's different.
That is a really good.
I feel like I should make that clear. So people will go and try to be an athlete.
No, 100%. I think for most people, just be mindful. Exercise is wonderful, and I definitely urge you to incorporate it into your routine, but know your kind of limit, know what's going to push you and make you feel, chronically stressed, truly, and be too much for your body. Another thing I think we should chat about is sleep.
Because when you're stressed, it's hard to sleep sometimes, isn't it?
Absolutely. And it's almost this kind of horrible cycle because getting enough sleep helps us control the cortisol production. But if you have chronically high cortisol levels, it can make it really difficult to rest, and it can really impact your sleep. So, one way I think sleep is also really telling to kind of give you a little insight onto how your cortisol levels are. It's natural, just natural circadian rhythms. Your cortisol levels are higher in the early morning, and then they kind of dwindle off, and very low at night. You should have this low cortisol level that helps you to sleep, and then throughout the night helps you to stay asleep. But people with the high cortisol level, chronic stress in the body can almost feel the opposite. So at night they're really wired, really anxious, very feeling very stressed, and then feeling very fatigued during the day. So we did a whole video on sleep not too long ago as part of our Schmeck series, which we kind of dive into sleep hygiene and sleep health and some things you can do. So I definitely urge you to watch that. And, hopefully that will help. I think one of the biggest ones in regards to stress is really, again, focusing on those relaxation techniques, especially just prior to bed, and then really trying to establish your circadian rhythm. So setting, a bedtime that's consistent, every night, I roughly go to bed at this time and wake up at this time, can actually be really impactful. And little things like in the morning, getting outside in the sunlight, all of these little things really help you to kind of wire your internal clock and help you to get on a really good sleep schedule.
I love it. And yeah, we can link to that. And I would personally love to know what works for you. We also, if you're a member of our Metabolic Mastery Club, I can't speak today. We have a lot of videos dealing with stress on the library. We also have a lot of resources if you've done metabolic renewal or some of our other programs that I would highly encourage you to check out and see some of the ideas that Jade and Dr. Johnny have shared. As well as members of our community. But you could also comment on this video and let us know what works for you, because we are all always learning. And there might be some really cool idea you have that we've never thought of that would work really well. Yes. But just remember, it's like a small step thing. And like some stress is okay. Like you need to get your project done. You're going to be stressed. But like, you don't have to let that carry and destroy your entire,
100%.
There's things that are like I know like Dr. Johnny likes to talk about how like there's things you control and there's things you can't control. And so like, and like, this is just in general, I think Jade's philosophy too, and a lot of like the things that we have in our coaching programs and stuff. So like focus on what you can control so that you can better handle those things that you can't.
Yes. So
I don't know if that's really concrete advice, but that's a good.
I love it.
I know Jade talks about a lot on his Instagram and in his materials and his books. And so does Dr. Johnny and Danny Coleman and all of the people like that we look to for advice.
We do. Thank you guys so much for listening. I hope this was helpful. And yeah, any questions? We got you covered.
Thank you guys. Have a great day.